Hello, this is Tessa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have good news. Pretty good news. Somewhat ungood news. It's a mixture of everything. The sad news is my son-in-law's father passed away due to cancer. It was quick. He didn't have a lot of warning before it happened. And when they finally told him, he went to the hospital. He was in treatment, and he went to the hospital for something. They told me and he had a couple days left to live. So my daughter and her family are mourning really bad right now. It upset me a lot, too. He was a very nice man. My daughter couldn't have picked a better family for in-laws. I mean, you hear a lot of terrible in-law jokes, but these people were great. And I'm so sorry to see this happen to him. So that's the bad news. Can't do anything about it, so we're going to move on. So some of you may have heard me talking about the colonoscopy. I was really worried about it because I've never had one. So one, I didn't know how it worked. And two, I was half afraid of what the results were going to end up showing. I was really afraid to get results. And I don't have full results. They did a few biopsies just to be safe. But in general, the news is good. There's no sign of cancer at all. There are no polyps or whatever those things are. I don't have ulcerative colitis. I don't have Crohn's disease. I do have diverticulosis, but that's not as big a deal as the others. And a lot of people have that. And that's probably the cause of why I sometimes have upset stomachs for no reason. You know, I ate something that didn't agree with me or whatever. So I'll have to read up a little bit more on diverticulosis just to see what it says. But she said that was really, really, really good news. So I'm really happy about that. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I really was terrified of the whole thing. And everybody kept saying, the worst part is the prep. The worst part is the prep. Once you get past that, it's nothing. You sleep through it, it's no big deal. Now, that prep made me very nauseous. I thought for sure I was going to throw it all back up. And I thought, man, what happens if I throw this stuff up? So I had to concentrate on not upchucking. And I had to drink a lot of water, and I'm not a big water drinker. It upsets my stomach, too. So that wasn't helping the matters. It took the nasty taste out of my mouth, but it wasn't helping the fact that my stomach was full of water, which it doesn't like. And, you know, it's just not the best the best thing in the world to go through. I didn't know we were having a major snowstorm and had started the prep. And my daughter, who was supposed to do the driving and then told my grandson to do it instead, since he's not working, calls up and says, it was late last night. Like I said, I never even thought to look outside. And she says, you know, there's a really bad storm going on, and it's supposed to be bad tomorrow, and I don't want Richie, or for you for that matter, out in this weather. And I'm like, oh, well, nobody's called to cancel it. I don't know what they're going to do in the morning, or even who to call, exactly to call, if I was going to call, you know, to find out. And so I was like pretty worried all night long. And I got up early, and my grandson texted me, and he says, Grandma, it's not bad out. It's raining at the moment. The roads aren't bad. He says, it's no problem. I said, great, we can go. So he came and got me, and I had to take a COVID test on Friday and be in isolation all weekend from everybody, just in case, because they didn't want, you know, whatever that test said, they didn't want it being changed by me being with other people. So I got the test results last night before they came in this morning. I got the test results because I'm signed up to their program. They call it My Chart, and everything goes on there. And if you're a member of My Chart, you can go in and get whatever you need off of it. So I was able to get the test results for my COVID test, which of course were negative. I've had 6 of them now, and they've all been negative. So I stayed away as much as possible, as you can in a building that's like a sardine can. Stayed away as much as possible from people all weekend. And I figured the ride to the hospital is not going to make a difference. Obviously, got to get there somehow. They know what driver's bringing me. And what would that few minutes in the car do to change anything? If I were to catch something, it would take a while to probably incubate. So, you know, if he had something, chances are there's no problem in that short little ride to the hospital. So we got there and things were going wrong. I mean, just like everything was going wrong. Charts weren't coming up right. They were having problems entering my info in their computer. I mean, it was just like one thing after another. I'm like, this week it's just been one big screw up. I'd like to just take this whole week and take it off the calendar and make it disappear. And they finally say, okay, go upstairs, mission's done. I get upstairs and they can't get into the records. They can't find them. They can't do anything. They put me in the wrong place. They were supposed to take me somewhere else for preparation. Instead, they brought me to another spot. They brought me to the room where you, what's the word? When you come out of anesthesia and stuff, you have to go, a recovery room. They brought me to the recovery room first, instead of taking me to the room where they do it. So they got me started and got me in bed and everything, and then they're like, oh, she's not supposed to be in this room. She's supposed to be in the other room. So then it's like, oh, we got to change the rooms. Luckily, they didn't make me get it completely out of the bed. They just wheeled the bed out and put it down in the other room where I was supposed to be, thankfully. It was just, you know, too much at that point. My body was hurting, and, you know, I got chronic pain going, and in and out of bed, those hospital beds and whatnot that they use, gurneys and stuff, they're not fun. So they get me settled. I met the doctor for the first time. I've never met her. I only met the colleague who I could not stand. And I did ask her, I said, when I do the follow-up, can I please see you instead? I'm sorry, but I don't like your colleague. She said, just ask for me. I said, well, I am, because I don't want to see that guy. He's a pompous ass. He's a jerk. He's rude. He does not have a bedside manner. He's the worst person in the world that could be a doctor as far as I'm concerned. He's done nothing for me. I mean, he's like, I go for an appointment. He says, oh, well, you were in a hospital and I don't know what they did, so I can't do anything. I mean, he couldn't even tell me something about the disorder, the colitis I had, something that might help, or, you know, maybe this might help you, or nothing. He was just, I can't do anything because I don't have the records from the hospital. I said, well, they're requesting them out front. Well, I can't help you. I'm like, I can't believe that. I mean, thankfully, it's paid for by my insurance, but they shouldn't even charge for that appointment. That was a total waste of time. He did absolutely nothing. So I don't want to deal with him. And this is not the first time I've dealt with him. I didn't like him the first time, and I had a feeling they were sticking me with him again, and they did. No, I don't. If I'm going to stay there, I have to see her, or because she's a nice, sweet person, very nice, very caring, very compassionate. The person that you would want to see is your doctor, especially if you're in a scary type situation. So she said, yeah, I can just ask for her. I said, okay, fine, because I don't want to do that again. So that was the good news. The other news is good and bad on depending on how you look on it. I had my first COVID vaccine. You have to go back in 3 weeks to get the second shot. Now, I don't like vaccinations. This is the first year I got a flu shot, and I got my first pneumonia shot. Pneumonia. I don't normally get vaccinations. I refuse them. So I had to think about this one, and as my sister was telling my dad, it's not just for your protection, it's for the protection of other people. It was bad. It's not just for your protection, it's for the protection of other people. It was if you happen to be sick and don't know it and pass it on, you would feel terrible. And she has a point. So then I asked my kids, and my kids all said, Mom, we really think you should, because I'm really immune compromised, and if I get it, it's probably going to be a really bad case. So it's really better that I not, if there's a way of stopping me from getting it. So when I went down there, now the shot didn't hurt, and so far my arm doesn't really hurt. I know some people get really sore arms from them. It's not really bothering me yet. And I haven't noticed anything else. I haven't noticed any other problems. But she told me because I'm immune compromised that it may not work the same as it would for someone who's in good health. So I could still possibly get the virus anyhow. It would just make it not as bad. I mean, what am I supposed to do? It's better than nothing at all, I guess. And like I said, I don't really believe in vaccinations, but I decided for several reasons to go ahead and get this one. But then they tell me that it may not work as well as they hope because I'm already immune compromised. I'm like, oh, well, I did my part. I had the first one. I just have to go back in 3 weeks and get the third one. They came here to the senior home where I live. I live in senior housing. They came to the building. They set it all up, the Board of Health, and I assume they're going to do that for the second shot too. So I shouldn't have to go anywhere. They should bring the whole thing to us like they did this time. I hope. They weren't really sure, but they figure that's probably what's going to do. They're not going to set something up and do half of it and then make you, not be able to get the second half. So I'm sure they're going to come up with something. So I had that to look forward to in 3 weeks. But this one it really didn't hurt. I'm terrified of needles, and I was really fine with it. So it wasn't a big deal yet, and no side effects yet. I got it earlier this afternoon about 4 hours ago. It was about 4 hours ago. So it could still set in. I mean, it hasn't been that long. So that's the good, bad, and not so bad. that middle one there depends on how you look at it, whether it's good or bad. I know some people are dead set against getting a vaccine at all, like I was. And I know several people here said they would not get one, which kind of defeats the whole purpose because so many people have to get it in order to get the effect that they're trying to get. And I understand that, but, some people simply aren't going to do it. Now, I did my part. I got mine. I'll get the second one. Hopefully they'll come here and it'll be on a day when I can get it done. Because when they said it was on the same day as my colonoscopy, I'm like, oh no, I can't believe this, But it did work out. The colonoscopy took 3 hours. I was in and out in 3 hours. So it really wasn't that big a deal. So I'm also, with my writing purposes, I'm still, of course, doing beta readers for my first novel. And the second one that I started, I just can't seem to get going on it. But I started another piece, and it's on my blog in prompts. I'm doing it every day with a new prompt, 2 on Friday. And It's 3 words each day, and then Fridays is all 3 days. All 3 words are for 7 days, so 21 words total. So you use them all once, and then you do one big one with all of them, and they're not related. So it's really interesting trying to make a story that makes sense. But this thing's like falling into place. So I was thinking I would try maybe write a young adult novel. And I thought, but I'm not really an adult novel type person. But I do like thrillers. And I was wondering if there's some way I could turn this into the second part of my thriller. Since the second part I started writing, it's not going anywhere at the moment. And I don't think where it happens in the order is going to make any difference. I just have to figure out how to introduce the people that are in this story in my first part, because it's not settled yet. It's not set as being done. And I would have to change things in the story. I would have to choose who was going to be murdered, why are they murdered, who's the murderer, the whole thing. So I'm not exactly sure where I want to go with that. So that's kind of up in the air. I got plenty to work on, believe me, between the blogs, posts, because I blog several times every day, usually, unless, I'm having a bad day, and then I have to catch up. Like, I'm behind again because of all that's going on this past weekend. I'm a little behind again, so I need to catch up again. And I need to get working on these beta readers, comments that are coming in. And some of them just make absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's like, what are you thinking? I just, some I agree with, some I do not agree with. Some I think they must not have read very carefully, because what they're asking me is right there in black and white. It's not in my head. I didn't imagine it. It's right there on the paper. They read it. So I'm not sure why 2 of them have done that so far. Made comments on something where the information is there. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm sorry about the noise. My neighbors are hollering in the hallway. One of the problems of living in a sardine can. My door is 4 feet from the other 3 apartments right next to me, surrounding me. And then there's some, others on the other side of me. Then there's the ones above me and the ones below me. So there's a lot of noise in here. So unfortunately, it's hard to get time without noise. With my luck, somebody will call me on the phone or text me, and then it'll screw the whole thing up anyhow. I'll have to start over. So that's where I am with the writing. I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing. I'm still practicing lettering because 2 people request seeing my bullet journal. My writing's terrible. I'm working on trying to, do something a little fancier than my normal scribble. And not doing so well so far. I'm not very good at writing. You can't read my writing half the time. And to do these fancy things and make them look nice and neat is hard. And I see some people, they make it look so easy, and I guess eventually it gets easier. I mean, I'd say it's easier than when I first tried to do it, but it's still not as neat as I would like it to be. But since it's in my planner, my happy planner, and then I can just pull the pages out without ripping a binder apart, I just take those pages out and get rid of them and start with fresh pages. If I run out, I can order more. Not a big deal. They fit right in where, at the end of the other ones or at the front or wherever I want to put them. I can do whatever I want because of the way the planner's made. So I'm really happy with that planner. It's the Happy Planner Classic. It's, I think, 7 1/4 by 9 inches roughly. Right around that size. It's not 8 1/2 by 11. It's not a full size. If I did the full size binder, there's a lot of pages I could print out. These I can print out, but I would have to do a lot of cutting. I did buy the better paper, the, heavier duty paper, because, regular printer paper is so skinny and thin, and if you try to pull on it, you rip it. So I did get heavier duty paper. So there's a few I want to make my own up, and I'll have to do the cutting and the measuring, and you know, I have a punch and everything. So I've got all that information. So this is getting long. I want to stop. If you like my video, please hit like. If you'd like to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to be notified. And until then, please be safe and get your COVID vaccine if you can. I think it's something we need to do. Do our part if you can, unless it's against your religion or whatever. I had very strong misgivings about it, but I'm doing it. So please be safe. Until next time, have a great day.